We start a little early, Leonard.
I know that.
Oh, great.
I'm here all the... Oh, great. Welcome to another...
Yelling at me already?
Welcome to another great show. Good morning, everybody. If you're listening a little early, well, so be it. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
It's already live.
It is live.
It's already live.
On the last day of the year, they finally get it right. We are live already, and you know what? That's phenomenal. So there's still a minute to go before we're officially on. And ladies and gentlemen, you are fantastic. Absolutely. Are you sure I don't need the microphone? Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. Just fantastic.
Tell us in the chat room, does Lenny need the microphone?
I don't know. How am I doing?
Grief.
James Caplion.
If you got any louder, you blast us out
How
of
are
here.
you doing? Eddie Heckman is here. Danny Fuller. Chris from Cambridge. Then we have George. Then we have Roto Lady. Guest Morris. Holy cow. What are we doing?
Chris likes to put these obscure players into the... He likes to tell us a birthday every day.
Yeah, Otis Nixon's brother has a... Who the heck is Otis Nixon's brother?
His name is Donnell Nixon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hold on.
Boston Paul's here. Tommy Johnson's here. Wow.
Donnell Nixon holds the minor league record for the most stolen bases in a season with 144 stolen bases in a minor league season. It's the brother of Otis.
Whoa. Yeah. It's the second time I knocked my cup over. Almost destroyed myself. Go ahead.
Anyway, happy birthday to this guy, Donnell Nixon, Otis's brother. But there was a pretty big birthday yesterday, right? Sandy Koufax?
88 years old, Sandy Koufax had a birthday yesterday, and but before we get to
What
that,
are you looking at?
I'm just looking to see what time it is. I'm looking to see what day it is. I'm looking to see who you are. You know, I got to know everything. Okay. Thank you very much. So
Happy New Year, everybody. I'm not in a great mood today, right?
No, she's not. When's the last time you stayed up for New Year's Eve? I mean, until 12 o'clock.
I would have to say at least 5 years ago.
5, and I was around?
Lenny, you've been around my life for 16 years now.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, I don't think we're going to be staying up tonight.
We go to bed at like 7 now.
Yeah.
But we get up at 4.
So good.
So.
We still get the 26 hours in, all right? It's still good. Okay.
Okay, so Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax. Now, Sandy Koufax, he is the only player, okay, who, he's a very special player to me. I think out of all the Major League ball players that I have seen in my life and followed, and there's been quite a few, Sandy Koufax, Chris Gallo is here, good morning. Sandy Koufax is something special. And the reason, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I can do my Vince Scully imitation, okay? You want to hear it? You don't have a choice. Sandy Koufax.
That's all you got? Come on, man.
And on the mound to the Dodgers, Sandy Koufax. I mean, I got the inflection. I got the Vince Scully lingo down. So,
well, don't you have a story?
Yeah, well, Koufax, look, he was pitching when I was growing up and into baseball, no question about it. And Sandy Koufax is the only pitcher that I can recall in my history who every time he went out on the mound, you thought it might be a no-hitter. So I made it my business, and good morning to Laura, good morning to Leonard Donaldson. I made it my business. I listened to every beginning of a Sandy Koufax game thinking and knowing that there was a chance he could throw a no-hitter.
You can't do that anymore.
Well, there is no...
It's never going to happen again because this ridiculous idea of babying pitchers, okay? And really, we're doing all this to baby pitchers, but there's more injured pitchers than ever.
Exactly. But the point is that Koufax was so good that you would think every game was a potential no-hitter. And when the other team got a hit, it was almost like a disappointment and an upset. you almost expected more innings of a no-hitter. So that's how great, to me, Sandy Koufax was.
We have a lot of notes in the chat room from yesterday. There was quite a big trade with Chris Sale, who, by the way...
Oh, don't start me off with Chris Sale, but go ahead.
I am going to. I'd like to once again prove your point. These people have no clue what's going on in the front offices unless these front offices tell them. So basically, everything you're getting was meant to be for your ears. And these writers, they don't know. No, not one person said Chris Sale was going to be traded.
Yeah, we just spent months listening to all kinds of tidbits and all kinds of rumors and all kinds of guess who's talking to the Dodgers. Guess who's talking about Clayton Kershaw. Talking. They had every day, these beat writers, and God bless them, they had a tough job to do. When your job is to write notes about the news and there's no news, what do? I mean, you get paid for it. You get your hotel paid. You're sitting in your hotel. You're going to dinner. You're getting that paid. You got to come up with something. So they come up with notes, they come up with tidbits, they come up with articles expressing an interest in a certain trade and a certain something. And one of the few players, now listen to this, and you mentioned it, whose name was not mentioned as a possible trade candidate was Chris Sale. And he was, so he was one of the players. This trade was not rumored. It was not talked about. It was nothing.
Laura, Lenny already said hi to you, but it's nice to see you in the chat room. He said hi before you came. You must have heard him.
I know.
And Mary. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year to everybody.
And Eddie and Teresa Heckman are here. Yep. I know Eddie has been on a family vacation, so it's not so easy. We appreciate you showing up, Eddie.
Good
Happy New Year to you and your family. Gallo and Debbie, Chris from Cambridge, Captain Danny, Penny. You got George Hubschman.
Yep.
I'm trying to wake him up. It looks like he's been off for 12 minutes. But James K. is here. Leonard Donaldson.
Okay. There was not a rumor about Chris Sale. What do you think of that?
You literally just interrupted me saying hi to the chat room so you could repeat some joke about Chris Sale.
It's not a joke. I am terribly sorry. I'm all amped up today.
Tommy Johnson is here and Rotorius. That's fine.
Okay.
Leonard.
That's great.
Whatever. Chris Sale, dude, what's he going to do? That's what people want to know. Fantasy people. We'll talk about Chris Sale. We'll talk about Frankie Montas. It's just ridiculous that we have to talk about these guys. Zach Plesac is another...
Well, hold it. I still have
ridiculous guy that got signed, and Giolito goes to the Red Sox, and then they get rid of Chris Sale, which I think instantly pissed off Red Sox people. But
I don't know. So who would you rather have next year? I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you again?
You better watch out today.
Okay. All right. I'll say this, and then I'll step away for a while, okay? Next year, your turn to pick a pitcher. Let's go back now and revisit the question we asked a couple of weeks ago. Would you prefer to have Clayton Kershaw or Chris Sale on your team?
It's Kershaw, dude.
Who do you want?
There's no question. I don't even have to look up anything to know that it's Kershaw.
Why?
Because...
Based on what? You don't know if Kershaw is
based on what?
still
Ever
injured?
since Sale became a Red Sox, he turned into a big loser. He's just a huge mess. The Red Sox got rid of him. They're keeping $17 million of his pay for this year, or the rest of his contract. I think they owed him $27 million, and they're paying 17 of it. Maybe he'll be better with the Braves. The Braves are an excellent team. The Red Sox are not an excellent team. They do not do great for their pitchers. They haven't been great in years. I wish... Giolito went 2-9 with a 7.04 ERA the last 2 months of the seasons. We talked about him on Saturday Baseball yesterday, of course, because that was the highlight of yesterday's. But Kershaw, are you kidding me? Do I have to pull up the numbers for you to know that Kershaw is clearly...
It's not about what they did. It's what they're going to do. And we don't know Kershaw's injury status, really. Danny Fuller says Kershaw.
Yes, we do know
James
his injury.
Caplion says Sale. Leonard Donaldson says Kershaw.
Sale.
You got a bunch of different opinions.
Well, that's
there.
fine. You're allowed to have your opinion, but this idea that Sale is better than Kershaw, no way. Kershaw actually went and got surgery on an injury because he decided that he's not done playing baseball. And I saw yesterday that Kim Rosenthal said that him signing with Texas is a real possibility. Everybody just assumes he's going to go back to the Dodgers, but he lives in Texas. His family is happy in Texas. He's a Texas guy. I mean, look, he's a Dodger through and through. He spent his entire career there. I would be happy for the Dodgers if they got him and signed him for another year. Let the guy retire as a Dodger. I'm okay with that. But if you want to talk about where he fits in best, where he would fit in, I think he fits into the Texas Rangers rotation immediately. He'll be healthy for spring training, so we do know his injuries. I don't know Sale. What is Sale going to do? Malpal said yesterday you should be drafting Sale like he's going to throw 100 innings, and that's probably true.
And he's probably right.
I mean, the guy was an excellent pitcher before he came to Boston, and he's done nothing but bring the team down since they signed him to that huge contract. Maybe going to Atlanta will help Sale. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I don't see any good rationale for saying he's better than Kershaw at this point.
Well, I don't know if it's better than Kershaw. We don't know the injuries as far as sales goes.
King Turd, welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, King Turd.
And the Turd family.
Brian Bello, Giolito, Cutter Crawford, Nick Pivetta, Tanner Houck. That's what the Red Sox are left with.
But why? So we talked about yesterday, we talked about the Fangraphs top 10 starting rotations and the bottom 10.
Right.
We didn't go through all of them.
No.
But this was before the Sale trade. The Red Sox were ranked 10th in MLB in starting rotation. Immediately after the Chris Sale trade, the Atlanta Braves moved into number 1 in pitching. The Phillies, which were ranked number 1 yesterday, they moved down to like 4th or 5th. And to me, look, what are they expecting out of Chris Sale? I get that adding Chris Sale to the Atlanta Braves rotation helps the Atlanta Braves, but does it help them to make them from 3rd to the best rotation in baseball just based on Chris Sale?
It's not based. It's filling out their roster. Charlie Morton, Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Bryce Elder. They didn't have a number 5 guy.
AJ Smith. What's going to happen to him now? I was saying
he'll be the number 6 guy, but now they got a full roster, and the bullpen led by Iglesias and Jimenez and Lopez and Minter could be the best in baseball. Atlanta's the number 1 team.
And Reynaldo. Reynaldo's there. Okay, Reynaldo Lopez.
Oh, yes, he is.
You know. Yes. Okay, well, here's the deal. The person that gets affected immediately from this is A.J. Smith-Shawver, who just lost his rotation spot.
Yes.
And they might do a 6-man rotation because both of these guys are young. A.J. Smith-Shawver, though, I'll tell you what, Turd turned me on to Smith-Shawver, okay, and I started looking at him. The guy goes deep into games, what he did in the minors. He strikes out a ton of batters. A.J. Smith-Shawver should be on your notes, and he's definitely going to fall now in drafts because he just lost his spot in the rotation. We'll see. But now the Red Sox have no lefties in their rotation, and
Good point.
And the rumors are that the Red Sox now are looking at either Stroman or Montgomery, because those two are the lefties available. I think Montgomery's a lefty.
But what are they going to do with those guys? They're full.
They need a...
Who's not going to pitch? Cutter Crawford? Yeah, Garrett Whitlock. It's very possible.
And here's another little tidbit that Malpal made me aware of. Where's Malpal today?
He's in
Is
there.
he there?
He's in there.
Hello, Tina, too. So, Nick Pivetta. I couldn't get over the fact that the Fangraphs had the Red Sox rotation ranked 10th overall when they still had Sale, of course. I don't know what they're doing now. But here's the thing. I said Fangraphs must really like Nick Pivetta. And the working theory is that Nick Pivetta spent the second half of the season in the bullpen, and he did do excellent. So if you look at his stats at the end of the season, you'll say, holy crow, this guy did great. Well, then, of course, you have to say, well, he was moved to the bullpen, and there's a big difference between pitching as a starter and going into the bullpen. So, yeah, his numbers were great as a bullpen guy. But Malpal pointed out to me, and it's so true, the last few weeks of the season, Pivetta was back in the rotation as a starting pitcher and did excellent.
Okay.
So Fangraphs, I think, likes Nick Pivetta, and I think there's reason to like Nick Pivetta. That's
all right. Is there a reason? Now, we talked about the trade the other day, Lucas Giolito, okay? And I think the fantasy community is really not certain about Giolito. Where do we take him?
Chris Gallo is correcting me, and rightfully so.
Okay.
Let me just finish. Let me just
all right,
interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
Gallo is correcting me. He says the Red Sox won a title in 2018 with Chris Sale as their star. The very next year, he was signed to the long contract and got hurt immediately, so he has not been a total failure. He waited till he got a great contract before he shit the bed. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, Leonard. I'm sorry.
It's not fun to hear
I'm not listening to you.
A female go shit the bed, okay? All right, anyway, so Lucas Giolito, I don't think the fantasy community knows where to put him. Is he an $8 player or is he an $18 player? Now, here's the stat. Lucas Giolito went 2-9 with a 7.04 ERA with the Angels and the Guardians in the last 2 months of the season. So here is a former star, a pitcher that I thought was going to get better instead of what he has been doing, and that's getting worse. So does anybody have any value?
He's going 207th overall ADP.
Right.
All right, 207. That's around like 23, 22.
Okay.
So are you willing, what do you think of that ADP with Giolito?
Well, it could be $15. Could be, okay, he could be a $15 pitcher.
No freaking way.
No way?
No freaking way.
Well, what do you say? $8?
Even if that. 8 at the most.
Wow.
I just don't believe in this guy, okay?
But there's a good chance.
He strikes out batters.
There's a good chance that Lucas Giolito could absolutely bounce back, okay?
Another guy, Zach Plesac, as George pointed out in the chat room, is going to the Angels.
Yes.
He received a surprising major league deal at AAA in 2023. He gave up 30 home runs in 94 and 2/3 innings, 6.08 ERA, a 1.48 WHIP, and 42 walks in 94 innings.
Well, here's the thing about Zach Plesac. His best return was pitching in Cleveland.
Yes, it was. It was.
Best return is pitching in Cleveland.
Also, Frankie Montas. Good grief. I'm surprised anybody even showed up today to talk about Frankie Montas.
Well,
this guy, first and foremost, before we go into all of the stats and stuff, this guy got busted for PEDs and he hasn't pitched good since.
Okay.
That's it.
And the Yankees had him and he hasn't done anything, so the Yankees are going to get rid of him. One more thing about Chris Sale. The Braves starters last year combined for a 4.36 ERA.
That sucks.
It put them 17th in starter ERA out of 30 teams.
Well, Spencer Strider, we've talked about a lot. His ERA was much higher than it should have been. The defense was not great in Atlanta. So let's talk about... Did we talk about Von Grissom?
No, we haven't talked about Grissom yet.
This guy is a fantasy superstar.
He could be in the making. Yeah, I agree with it. Nice
he steals
going.
bases. He hits home runs. He hits at the top of the lineup. He's excellent as far as hitting is concerned, which is all of us should only be worried about that. And that was the mistake I made last year. I put this guy on 2 of my teams in very deep drafts, but it wasn't that late that I drafted him, to be honest with you. Here's the thing. He did not play all year, and it wasn't because of his hitting. It was all because of his horrible defense. You could probably field the shortstop better than Grissom. Anyway, the Red Sox need him at second base, and that's what they say they're going to do with him. They're going to give him a chance at second, which breaks Boston Paul's heart, because he was really hoping that they would get India from Cincinnati. You know, India's probably going to be on the move.
That's correct.
Anyway, back to the Grissom thing.
Well, Grissom is capable of playing shortstop, third base.
No, he's not.
He was used some in left field during the winter this offseason, but the Red Sox have a clear opening at the second base spot, and that's where they plan to use him after acquiring him from Atlanta, okay?
Okay, Grissom.
And Emmanuel Valdez is a reserve now. That's what happens there.
Frankie Montas, $15 million for 1 year. Is that the new minimum wage?
What do you mean minimum wage?
That's the new minimum wage in baseball.
Okay, maybe.
I mean, without putting it on paper, clearly $1 million is the minimum wage, but it seems since Ohtani got signed that this is the lowest of the low. Montas, all right, he's represented by Boris, which is interesting because the Boris Corporation has been dealing with the Reds this offseason. There's a note in here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's an interesting theory of the case. Anyway, Montas collected 6.35 ERA in 8 regular season starts for the Yankees in 2022. He did make it back for 1 playoff appearance from shoulder injury, but then he wound up needing surgery again on his shoulder in February. He does strike out batters, and he did come back for September 30th at Kansas City. He threw 1 1/3 innings. He struck out 1, no earned runs, but he did allow 2 hits. Frankie Montas, D.
James Caplion says Montas' contract is a joke. All right, but he showed...
Big Al, great to see you.
Good morning, Big Al. Montas showed flashes of quality. He had a 3.1 ERA over 161 innings for Oakland during 2018 and 19.
And he was great till he got busted for... And not just busted. He was 80
suspension.
games. That means it wasn't the first time that he got busted.
Yep.
80 games. And then since he's come back, he hasn't done anything. And that's really where I draw the line. He hasn't proven that he can even pitch without PEDs. And when he was pitching, he was a bullpen guy, even though I swear they're going to throw him in their rotation right now in Cincinnati.
The Yankees felt good enough about his shoulder. They had some interest in re-signing him this winter. But now he's going to head for Cincinnati.
And a fresh start.
And I'll tell you what, Cincinnati, very quietly, I mean, I don't think they're going for the winner's circle this year. But who do they have in that Central Division? They've got Hunter Green, who could be a star.
Yeah.
Nick Lodolo, who could be a star. He's got a leg injury, though. Andrew Abbott, another lefty. Graham Ashcraft, Frankie Montas. I'll tell you, they are very slowly building a decent rotation. Alexis Diaz and Emilio Pagan are their 2 closers. They probably need another bullpen guy, but look out.
Well, they got Nick Martinez now can go into the bullpen.
Okay, so they're doing a fantastic job about becoming a competitive team in a division that it's not going to take much to be on top of the division. So, nice going, Cincinnati.
No,
there.
Wander Franco has wandered off. He is not being found by anybody.
Well, who asked
Which
that
just
question?
makes him look so guilty, dude. They wanted to question him about these underage girls, and he literally freaking disappeared. They went to his house. They looked everywhere. They raided his house. They didn't just go there knocking. They literally raided his house. And I hate to say this, okay? But the truth is, Wander Franco, is probably never going to be found alive.
Oh, don't say that.
He's gone.
You can't.
He's disappeared.
From baseball.
You have to assume he's guilty if he ran off like he did. He probably. I mean, I don't know. I'll just move on to a different conversation. It's a horrible situation. I don't know how any of these people think that it's smart to do this crap while they're ML. I mean, just good grief, people. Esteban Florial,
yeah,
right? Let's talk about him.
Day.
We're going to talk about him again.
How terrific is it? Now, who was that catcher?
Sebi?
Yeah, Sebi Zavala.
He's in the Mariners now.
He's on the Mariners, but Andrea walked into a ballpark in Arizona and saw this catcher. I never even heard of him, and she said, he's going to be a player. Okay, is he a great player? No, but nobody
it was his work behind the plate that I liked, Leonard. It wasn't really...
All right, and it was the same consideration with Florial. When we saw him, and you felt the same way, right? He looked like a nice player coming out of the dugout, but for goodness sake,
he's a nice guy.
As soon as he took a picture with Andrea.
Yes,
a nice guy. We got to root for him.
Well, here's the thing: you don't have any faith in Florial, but I do.
Yeah,
I believe he can. Now, let me tell you what he did. First of all, he was horrible for the Yankees. They never really gave him a chance. They didn't have a room for him. He was up and down all the time. The question about Florial is not that he doesn't have tools. It's whether or not he's going to be effective in the majors as he was in the minors. He has not proven that yet, but let me tell you...
he doesn't have anything to prove in the minors. He's done it all in the minors.
Right. He's already proved himself, so how can you say that he's not good? Just because he hasn't been good, he hasn't been given a chance. Now he will. The only outfielder that's locked into the starting role in Cleveland is Stephen Kwan, and now Florial will have a chance. Let me tell you what he did last year at AAA. 284 batting average, 380 on base percentage, 28 home runs, and 25 stolen bases. The problem with him is the good old 30% strikeout rate that he has, but he's 26 years old, and when he was up in the majors, he only batted .209 with a .313 on base percentage, 1 home run, and still a 31% strikeout rate, but he only played in 48 games, and I'm telling you right now, look, I tried to tell you last year to get Franmil Reyes, and that was a big bust.
That was a big...
then I dumped Marcell Ozuna in the first week of the season. And that was a big bust.
Okay.
And Esteban Florial might be a big bust, too.
Okay.
But
I love when you talk about big busts. I love it.
Don't interrupt me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Let me look at his ADP real quick. What I can tell you is that he's not being drafted, in a lot of leagues. And I think he's going to get a job every day. He's ADP 587. That's clearly going to go up. When I say up, I mean it'll probably end up somewhere in the 200 ADP mark somewhere. But he absolutely has opportunity now that he did not have with New York. And you've given up on Esteban Florial, but I didn't.
Well, I haven't given up on the outfielder for on Chris Flexen. I have not given up on Chris Flexen.
Oh,
okay.
Good Lord. Okay.
It's hard to find a lot of positives in his 2023 performance.
Oh, really?
He was effective for Seattle over the preceding 2 years, and I got to tell you, he looked like a serviceable back-end starter 2 years ago. The White Sox will take, and I like the White Sox. Now, where are the White Sox predicted to finish? Do you have that?
I will tell you in a second, but I do have to say, this one thing that was too good that King Turd brings up about the Topps, the card company, Topps.
Yes.
One guy on Twitter, on X, he won a prize. They were supposed to send him a game-worn something. Yeah. And it was a surprise.
Okay.
And he waited for 10, 12 months to get it. And all of a sudden he gets it. And it's Wander Franco's game-worn pants.
Was Wander Franco in the pants?
And the guy on X was like, I might have evidence. This might be evidence because there's spots on the pants. You know,
Okay.
they were game-worn pants. But what were they thinking sending out Wander Franco's pants? I mean,
that's all they got.
Come on.
Well, I'll tell you.
Good grief on that, okay?
I'm going back on the White Sox bandwagon.
All right, you want me to tell you where the White Sox...
yeah, where are the White Sox?
they're last. Their pitching is last. Their
Eric
hitting is
Freddy
last.
has a rotation spot.
Okay.
Dylan Cease would be the opening day starter. If they don't trade him, then you got Soroka, they got Kopech. I got to tell you something. Flexen steps into that fifth starting spot and long relief. So the White Sox payroll up to $150 million. It's nowhere near $180 million from last year. But I got to tell you, I am going to pay attention to Chris Flexen.
Of course you are, because you have a man crush on this guy.
Whatever
He's a junk.
Whatever I have.
Fantasy junk.
In 1988, 23 pitchers, okay,
Went 10 innings.
Went 10 innings, okay?
In 1988, 23 pitchers threw 10 innings in a start.
And since 2012, you've only had one.
That's so ridiculous.
That's what it is.
It's sad, really.
Well, it's how baseball has changed.
How long is it going to take for... Or is it ever going to change back to what it was? It'll never change back to what it was because these kids are being brought up to be pansies. Remember how they treated Steven Strasburg?
Yes. Remember we were in Arizona?
And he had security guards.
He had security
guards. And he never
guards.
pitched one pitch in that entire Arizona Fall League.
Is that right?
I don't know why he was even there.
He had a jacket on so nobody could see his name on the back of his jersey. Or his number.
Why was he even there?
I have no idea.
But everybody wanted to see Strasburg.
Yeah.
But he was put on a shelf just like he was in Washington, and he never was healthy. Well, he was healthy for a couple of years. Is he coming back ever, by the way?
No.
Or is Steven Strasburg
Strasburg's done?
All right.
Okay.
Well,
where's all the Luke Voigt chat?
Well, Luke Voigt.
Luke Voigt.
What should we be talking about him about? Tell me.
Hard to say.
I'm just wondering. Last year, he was supposed to have a job on the Brewers as their first baseman, and that guy can hit for power, but he never gets a spot anywhere because he clearly isn't a good defender.
You have anything you want to say about the Hall of Fame?
I watch every ballot come in.
You do?
I watch the ballot tracker. I'm looking at these people thinking, what is wrong with you? I believe that Gary Sheffield deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Half of them are too high on their morality horse to put in things like Manny Ramirez or A-Rod.
Yeah.
And you can really tell. And then, the guy from Fangraphs, I mean, he makes a decent point, but still, these people don't take their job seriously. He said, why would I vote for Beltre? Beltre's going to get in, no problem. I figure I'll use my votes on other players that might not get in. Yeah. He says he made a comparison to something else, but he said, why would I vote for Beltre? He's already going to have all the votes he needs, so I'll vote for someone else. I just don't know. I see one guy didn't even know it was Gary Sheffield's last season. Hasn't reported on baseball since 2017. He's out there. He probably doesn't even know who Shohei Ohtani is. He's like, well, somebody said, when was the last time you wrote about baseball? He said 2017, and you think about how long that's been. And then he's taken a bunch of crap for voting Sheffield in last year and then not voting Sheffield in this year. And he says, well, I could vote for him next year. And it's just embarrassing. What a joke it's turned into be.
I was going to ask you if you're going to be on.
I had a lot, Ray. I didn't prepare for that.
I know.
That just came right from
you going to be in the chat room midnight?
No.
Well, all right. Just wanted to make sure.
I'm going to be sleeping.
Also 16 Hall of Fame voters left Greg Maddux off the ballot. So, it's hard to, I don't know, I've lost interest.
Some of them left Willie Mays off the ballot.
Yep.
Some of them.
MLB teams are ranked right now at Fangraphs based on their projected 2024 record. And as you mentioned before, the Braves have taken over first. The Yankees are fourth.
Well, they talk about...
That's incredible.
Roger
the Yankees
Maris.
Are... What?
There is a question about Roger Maris, whether Roger Maris should be in the Hall of Fame.
No, and he was one of my favorite players.
Well, the reasoning for the writers saying that he should be in there is because of all these MVP and All-Star games. Here's the thing. You should put people into the Hall of Fame based on career stats. That's it. Period. One word. Career stats. Two words. But they want to use this MVP, these All-Star. Like apparently Roger Maris was in a ton of All-Star games. The All-Star games is a popularity contest. These writers are turning the Hall of Fame into a popularity contest, using All-Star games as their incentive to put a player in there is a bunch of ridiculous crock.
And Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame.
You're a crock.
Here's, you talk about the Fangraphs stat predictions.
You're a crock.
Yeah. The New York Mets are rated number 15. That means they are rated ahead, expected to finish ahead. I don't believe it.
Now, is this the pitching rotation, or these are the teams?
No, these are the teams. It's predicted to be ahead of the Rangers.
How about this pesky
ahead of the Brewers. Ahead of the Giants.
The Braves.
It doesn't make any sense. I think this year the New York Mets have one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball.
All right, people. The Mets aren't done. They're not done. There's still pieces available, even though they're running out of pieces available.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mets should hire Bauer and Imanaga.
Okay.
They pitched together in Japan, so they should come as a pair, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm losing hope for Bauer coming back.
Okay.
That's all there is to it. You have to be realistic here. These teams do not want to be associated with Bauer.
So before we wind up the end of this program, I just want to talk to you in general.
Okay.
When you have you ever had a really terrible fantasy draft?
Yes.
And what did you do with your team? Are you one who waits on his team before you make a move, or would you make a move right away?
Well, if you have a horrible draft, you would probably want to start working on it right away, but I like to give my players a chance.
Yeah.
I just haven't. I don't know. I like to give them a chance.
Did I ever tell you I made a trade?
Boston Paul is out there trading on the draft day.
Yeah, I made a trade in the draft.
Well, what the hell's the point? Just draft the guy you want. Jeez Louise, what is wrong with you?
If you couldn't get him, and
then you make a trade during the draft. Some people just love trades.
I'm not a big trader.
You're not a big trader?
No. No, I'm not a big trader. Okay?
It's New Year's Eve, Leonard. What are we going to do today?
A Happy New Year to everybody. And our phone number, I put it in the chat room. If you'd like to call us at 631-406-7141, we would be absolutely thrilled to take your call and wish you a Happy New Year. And if not, we'll wish you a Happy New Year anyway. Anything else you want to say?
If anybody feels lonely, you can always call Leonard. Right, Leonard?
I'm not going to be up, but I get up every 2 hours anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You get up to pee.
Yeah, 631-406-7141. Call us if you like. And if you don't like, we don't like you either.
Big Al, have a wonderful New Year's Eve. Stay safe, my friend. I know you're not going to the city. That would just be crazy. I don't know how anybody goes down there for this big debacle that's happening. Plus, you got the anti-Israel protests going on at the World Trade Center. There's all kinds of nonsense going on down there. Yeah. But I still hope everybody has a wonderful, safe New Year's Eve.
Thank you, Big Al on the prowl. Chris from Cambridge. Chris Gallo, we love you guys. All of you. Danny Fuller.
And by the way,
Eddie Hackman.
This is our 365th podcast of the year.
Yeah, we made 365 podcasts this year.
Well, King Hap filled in several times.
Well, yeah, that's okay.
But we never missed a day. We haven't missed a day in 15 years, Leonard.
Thank you, all of you guys, for your support. We can't do it without you, and we just want to keep it going. Eddie Heckman, we thank you. Danny Fuller, James Caprion, Laura, Leonard Donaldson. What a great...
I think I hurt Boston Paul's feelings. Now he says he's not making any trades.
Malpal, Notorious, Tommy Johnson, Boston Paul, SM King Turd.
Laura, stay out of the city. You and Mary, stay out of the city.
Thank you very much. You got the phone number. It's in the chat room. Call us anytime, and we'll be around.
Love it.
Love you guys. Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.